Hello, and today I'm going to talk about how to fund your van life, where you're going to get the money from. But first of all, let's define what van life is. Van life, I think many people think of it as being you're travelling somewhere, you go somewhere new each day, or you find some nice beach you like and you stay there for a week and then you go to the next nice beach you like. And maybe you can do that, but if you are in retirement and you've got a source of income coming in, and that's great. But unless you've got the savings or income, I think most people are talking about a different form of van life. That is to say, a van life where you're living in a van, maybe you are travelling around a bit, but you're going to have to earn your keep as you travel. Now, in my experience in life, I've come across a number of people who work from home, and anything you can do from home, or probably just about anything you can do from home, you can probably work from a van doing the same, thanks to modern technology, in particular the internet and email, Skype, WhatsApp, Viber and all the rest of them. Now, I had a language services company, and I would, for example, I used to farm out a subcontract lots of work to people, stuff I either couldn't do myself because it was too hard or couldn't be bothered, too much work or whatever, and then it would be sent back to me in the office, and I would sort of do whatever had to be done to it to sort of correct or make it better before handing it back to the client. And people were largely working from home who were working for me. Later, I was in publishing, and I had a column in a financial daily, and I used to do that usually from wherever I was. I very rarely went to the office to do it. So that was another thing. In fact, people, any form of writing, could be working in PR, for example, or something of that nature. Then certainly, yes, you can do that sort of thing from a van. Now, I think the traditional thing for people who are working in or living in vans and travelling on is to work on campsites, and certainly there is a lot of demand for that, because I get asked all the time from people, do you know anybody who's handy and speaks English, or speaks English and German, or something like that. I get these requests from Italy all the time. Don't write down below that you because I don't really want to get in that of into being an intermediary, but if you are looking for something, like, write to the campsites and see what they have to say, and they'll probably give you some kind of pocket money plus a little place to pitch your van up, and then you're on their site for the summer or something of that nature. Give it a try. I mean, it's definitely worth, because lots of people need people to do this. In fact, it's even the case in Germany, was a place I was at, and they couldn't speak German, they couldn't speak English, and I said this to the campsite owner, and said, well, yeah, but what else can I do? I need people to do the work, so I can't find anyone else. So yeah, there certainly is a demand there. So that's the sort of thing also that you might be interested in. Is there things you can do when using your van? Well, maybe you can get yourself a reputation, for example, online as being a carpenter or as a plumber or something of that nature, and then you can sort of go around doing projects in one place after the other after the other. There's another way you could potentially do it. Indeed, there was in the UK press, I think it was in 2016, there was a case of somebody travelling around the UK, some lady travelling around the UK in a camper van and offering some services inside. I mean, I saw this in The Sun, and I also saw it in the Daily Mirror, so maybe it wasn't entirely true. But that's I'm not suggesting you do that, by the way, because that would possibly be illegal. But she was obviously she obviously wanted to live the van life of one way. And there's a final point I do want to make, is the idea of living from the internet. And I'm relatively have a relatively strong presence on social media, between YouTube and Facebook together. There's well over 50,000 subscribers, and I can say that this is not a particularly good way of earning money as far as YouTube's concerned. Now, and YouTube's rules don't allow you to say how much you actually earn exactly, but I can tell you this, in my case, it's well under the minimum wage. In fact, it's probably similar to what the Social Security would be if I went on the unemployment, although I don't really actually know how much the unemployment is now. But it isn't a huge amount of cash. there are sites such as Social Blade actually, and you can put in you put the name of a website in, and it tells you how much they're actually earning from to. And I know from talking to friends of mine, sort of also on YouTube, how much they earn, and most of them seem per view are earning considerably less than I am, so it's even worse for some people. Undoubtedly there are those that can make a really big hit out of doing things like this. I have a friend who is a photographer, for example, and she actually goes around, she takes nature photographs and things like that, and well, I think I don't know quite how much she earns, but I suspect it seems to be all right for the way that she lives, but maybe she's just got these contacts, and maybe after 40 years of doing it, and she's got so many contacts that is possible, and she gets assignments to go to interesting places. So I mean, that's another possibility. At the end of the day, I do appreciate for most people a case of van life is something that they can only do maybe 4 weeks a year in, and when they're on holidays or something like that, and it's something to look forward to in retirement. If you're lucky enough to be able to have the resources, or lucky enough, or skilled enough I should say, to have the ability to do something which you can do from travelling from one place to another, that is great. How you actually arrange your tour, your carpentry tour, your building tour, or whatever it is, and that sounds great. Another idea I had myself actually is if you're a language teacher, and you could even perhaps do it like that. I mean, there may be some idea I had from corporate language teacher, for example. I once thought, yeah, I could sort of go around teaching one company another and doing a course for 1 week, special needs or something like that, and living in their car park. Whether or not you'd actually really want to sort of spend time living in people's car parks or sort of outside some distance from anything of interest is something, is another thing. But I think the best thing when I'm thinking about it is to go back to the traditional way of doing things and try and get a job on a campsite, and the way to do that is to write to them. That's, I think, probably the best bit of advice I can give you, and you knew that anyway because it was just basic common sense. Thank you.